morning everyone. So let us begin with the today's session. Today I'm going to start the new chapter, which is data handling. So let us learn some techniques to handle the data in Python. So as we have already learned, students, about the data types in Python in previous chapter, but I will tell you few more data types like the complex number and some other data types in Python in which we can use while doing the program. So you can see here that I have written on the board data types in Python. There are different kind of data types in Python. First of all, we'll look into it: numbers, string, list, tuples and dictionary. Numbers and string we have already worked in. We have done few programs as well. However, list, tuples and dictionary we have not learned, but I will discuss one by one so that you can understand it better. Now the first one is numbers. Numbers are further divided into integer part, floating part and complex numbers. Okay, so what are integer part numbers? Integer part numbers are those numbers which contain only whole number. There is no fractional form in it. For example, you can say 5, 35, 64, any number which does not have any fractional part can be said as the integer number. Integer number, the range is unlimited. You can check the table of the integer range, that how the data type range falls and what are the range, that how much data can be stored in a particular data type. So in integer it is unlimited range, you can store the whole number. Now in integer we have one more data type which is called as Boolean data. I already learned in previous sessions that Boolean data type stores only two values, which is true and false. True represents 1 and false represents 0. So whenever you will write in the interactive mode, if you will write like this, BOOL Boolean, and then if you will write 1 and press enter, you will get the answer as true. If you write like this, BOOL and 0 and press enter, it will give you the answer as false. I'll show you the practicals also. So this is one of the data type which falls under the integer category because it has two integer values to be represented, 1 and 0. Moving forward, we have the floating point. Floating point number contains the number along with the fractional form. So you can say that any number which is represented in the form of decimal will be called as floating point number. Okay. And under the floating point floating point data type, we have one more data type which is exponent form. Exponential form we have learned in the last chapter. Exponent form, any data which is represented in the form of, suppose I have written here 5e5, okay, or minus 5e5. So this is called as the exponent form of the data which is stored in Python. Now, as these were the revision of the last chapter in which we have learned about these data types, the next part is the complex numbers. So under the number data type we have three parts: integer, floating point and complex number. Integer we have two parts, integer and Boolean value. Floating point we have two parts, floating point number and exponential form numbers. And now comes the complex number. You must have learned about this complex number in your in the maths book. If you have not learned, I'll let you know what are complex numbers. Complex numbers are basically used in mathematics, wherein it is represented in the form of a plus bi, where I is the imaginary part and a and b are the real part. Okay, so suppose if I have written here z equal to a plus bi, or if I have written any number in the form of a plus bi, like suppose 3 plus 4i, so 3 will be called as the real part and b4 will be called as the imaginary part, which is representing the I, which represents the I. So any number which you find in the form of a plus bi, it is called as complex numbers. Basically these are used in the electrical engineering, where I represents current. Okay, but why it is used in Python and how it will be used in Python as a data type, let's see that now. The complex number in Python will be represented as a plus bj. Now I will not be used here as the imaginary part because I is value which represents the current, and it is used for in electrical engineering. So Python has boycotted that I, and it has used j as the imaginary part in the programming language. So that is the only reason that we are not using I, because it is already, you can say, reserved for the current. So Python programming is using the j as the imaginary part. So here also you can see that A will represent the real part, and A and B represent the real part, and j represents the imaginary part. So now let us take the example here and see that how it will work. Suppose that I have written here z is equal to 3.5 plus 4j. Okay, so when you will write in the interactive mode, when suppose you have written here z, so it is going to print the give you the output like this, 3.5 plus 4j. But Python has the different keywords also. You can do different statements, you can say, to get the output bifurcated in two forms. It means we can print real and imaginary part in differently. So in two parts, we can bifurcate this real and imaginary part in two parts, and we can print it with the statement. If I write here as z is representing this whole value, so I will write here z dot real. So when you will write on the prompt z dot real, then it will give you the answer as 3.5. And if you will write here like z dot imaginary imag, it will give you the answer 4, because 4 is the number which is representing this imaginary part, and 3.5 is a real number. So this is how the complex number is represented in Python. We will not use I, we will use j here because I is already reserved. So that's all for the number data types. Moving forward, now we will study a gist of the string data type, because we have already studied it. Let's see it once again. String data type, anything which is enclosed in a single quote or double quote will be set to as a string. So if you want to make any number also represented as a string, if you want to show the any particular special character as a string, you have to enclose it with a single quote or double quote. Now let me give you an example. For example, I have written here Ram, so it will be enclosed in double quote or maybe single quote. I have written here J. Okay, I have written here suppose question mark, and I have written here star. So now if you will write the star in double quote or single quote, it will be treated as a string. Whenever we write anything which in double quote or single quote, it will be treated as a string. Okay, single line, multi-line string declaration we have already studied in Python in the last chapter. Or if you want to convert anything into a string, we will be using the str function. For example, suppose you have written here a is equal to true, and when you enclose it with single quote or double quote, and if you have written here in the prompt print a, or if you have written only a, it will give you the answer as true. But if you will use here str function, or maybe let it be like this only. Suppose I have written here stra. Okay, so now it is going to give you the output like this, true. So to convert any particular thing into a string, we can use the str function. This is how any number, anything can be changed to a string, and for declaration of any string you need to use the single quote and double quote. Okay, so as we know that how we can now store the strings in Python, so I want to tell you that how the strings are stored in the memory of the Python, or how it can be accessed with a particular position. As we have learned that to find out the length of the string, suppose I have written here a is equal to Ram like this, and I want to find out the length of the string, so I can use the length function. It will give me the answer as 3. Okay, so this I have told you earlier. Now how this RAM will be stored in memory, or if I want to suppose access a particular alphabet from the memory of this whole you can say character, then how we can access a particular alphabet from a particular position. Okay, so in memory of Python, suppose whenever you write a is equal to Ram, it takes the space in the memory and it stores it in the memory. Now whenever we store it, the indexing is provided to the particular alphabet, and this indexing will start from 0, 1, 2. Whatever the length is, the length of the character is, so indexing will go till length minus 1. So suppose the length of the character is 3, so it will go till 2. And if you want to access the R only, you have to write A and 0 position. Then it will give you the output only R, not RAM. When I write A only, print A, it will give me the output as RAM. When I write A 0 position, 0 indexing, it will give me the answer R. And if I write A 1, it will give me the answer as A. This is called as forward indexing. Forward indexing. Now Python also uses backward indexing for storing the value. So backward indexing starts from right to left, and it starts from -1 position. -1, -2, -3. So the value which is stored in the 0 position can also be accessed by the -3 position of that particular string. So now if I write here like this, suppose I write here like this, A0 position is equal to, okay, if I write here A is equal to A0 position, it is going to give me the answer as R. And if I write here A -3, then also you will get the answer R. This will be useful when we will start doing the programming, and where we need to store a large group of characters, and we want to access a few characters from the from that string. Then it will be more useful, because that time we will have to take the position, and then we have to use this in our program. So this is how the forward and backward indexing works. I'll give you one more example. Suppose I have written here A is equal to Python. Okay, so this is a string I have, this is a variable which is storing the string. Okay, now when the variable is storing the string, it has created a space in the memory, and the indexing of that particular string will start from 0 till the length -1 position. So what is the length of this string? 6. So it will go till 5. As it is starting from 0, so it will go till 5. The length will be 6 only. However, the indexing starts from 0. So this indexing which starts from 0 till the length -1, it is called as forward indexing. So I will write here Python, Python. Now Python also uses backward indexing, as we are knowing. So I will start here from -1, -2, -3, -4, -5 and -6. So the position which is containing the letter T, it can be both second position or -4 position. So both will give you the answer T only. If you will print A the position 2 and A the position -4, you are going to get the same answer. So this is how the indexing works in Python for storing any kind of value, for storing any kind of string. Okay, the type which I want to tell you about is list and tuples. I have written this all together because I want to discuss both together, as there is only slight difference in between both of them. List, then first of all let us know that what are list and what are tuples. List are the collection of comma separated values which are represented in square bracket. So suppose if I have written here A is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4. So this will be called as a list, because these are the comma separated values, different values which are represented under the square bracket. This is the square bracket. So now any kind of data type of any data type items you can add into the list. Either it is float, or it is number, or it is, you can say, string, or it can be a character as well. So any value can be added, any type of data type values can be added, either it is a string, character, or integer, or a floating point number. So this is called as list. Now lists are called as a mutable data type. Mutable data type, what do you mean by mutable? Mutable means the values of list can be changed. Value can be changed easily with the help of the position. Now if I have defined the list, 1, 2, 3, 4. So the position of the list will be defined like this. The indexing will be provided in the memory like this: 0, 1, 2, 3. And when I will want to change, suppose this 2 here, so I can easily get it changed by its position. I'll show you in a little bit of time. Now moving forward, I will tell you that what are tuples. Tuples are also a list of comma separated values, but they are represented in the form of parentheses. So anything which is written in parentheses like 1, 2, 3, 4, this will be called as tuple. I'll write here like this: list 1 is equal to this. Now list 1 position is equal to 95, and then I will write here like this: print list 1. So the output which you will get is 12, 95, 36 and 97. This is the output which you are going to get when you will write this print statement. Because with the index value we can change the value of the list. It can easily be modified. This is how the lists are said to be mutable, because you can change its value from its position. Okay, if I write here like this: list 2 is equal to, suppose I have written here list 1 second position is equal to 100, and then you get it printed. So it will print like this: 12, 95 and then 100, 97. Okay, so this is how the list works. Now if you will do this same with the with tuple, it is going to give you the error. Okay, moving forward to the last data type, which is dictionaries. That how we can represent the dictionary, either they are mutable or immutable. Let's see that. What are dictionaries? Dictionaries are, you can say, unordered collection of the data items which are represented in the form of key and its value. They are written in pairs, okay, represented as key and its value, and the value can be accessed by the key only, and they are unordered collection of data items. It means that the data items, whenever you will try to print the dictionary, it is not mandatory that the dictionary will be printed in the same order. How? Now suppose take an example of the English dictionary which we are using for finding out the meaning of any particular word. So suppose if you want to find out the meaning of crime, okay, so what you will do, you will you start from the alphabet A, start searching from A, B, and then you will go to C, or directly you will turn out the page of the C and then you will begin searching the word crime. So that is how the dictionary also prints the value which is in unordered set. You will not get in the same sequence with the indexing. If you want to access any value of the dictionary, you have to access with the help of key. So when we will write the key in the bracket, then it will give us the value of the dictionary. Now let's see that how what is the syntax of dictionary and how the values can be accessed with the help of key. Now suppose if I have defined here the dictionary name by vowel, and the dictionaries will be represented in curly braces, as lists were represented in square bracket, tuples were represented in parentheses. So dictionary will be represented under the curly braces. So suppose I have written here vowel is equal to, and I started the curly braces. This is my dictionary name, vowel. Now suppose I have written here A and its value is 1. B, no, not B, let's write E, value is 2. I, value is 3. Let's write this much only. So now suppose if I want to see the value of E, as if I am finding any particular word from the dictionary with the name E. So what I will write here, print vowel E position. So it will give you the answer as 2. So this is how it works, unordered set of data, and if you will try to print the full whole vowel dictionary, then it can be printed in any manner because it is unordered set of data. Okay, if you want to access any particular item, you have to access it with the help of the key. So these are called as keys and these are called as values. Now one more thing, that the keys of the dictionary cannot be any duplicate keys. Suppose if you have written here A and the value is 1, you cannot write here also A value 3. It will not create a dictionary, it gives you the error here. Okay, there is an error. But the values can be same. doesn't mean the value can be same. As in dictionary there are different words with the same meaning, so cannot be replicated. However, the values can be same. Okay, this is how dictionary works. Now today we have learned about the different data types in Python. Numbers, under numbers we have learned integer and integer boolean values, which is true and false, 0 and 1, and then floating point, exponent form, complex numbers, and string, and how we can access the string, forward and backward indexing we have learned, list, tuples, and dictionary. So you just read out this in your chapter. If you have any problem, then text me or write in the comment section below. Practice it at home. I'll show you the practicals of this in the next video. Till then, stay safe, stay home. Thank you so much.